The year is 1451, the earth shifts, the world watches, and a 19-year-old boy places a crown upon his head, not just of gold, but of vision. Mehmed, the second of his name, the seventh Sultan of the Ottomans. The world scoffs. A boy? They whisper. A child cannot rule an empire. But this was no ordinary child. From the moment he first opened his eyes, he was trained not just to rule, but to fulfill a divine mission. A dream carried by generations. A prophecy uttered by the tongue of the most truthful man who ever walked the earth. Muhammad. Verily, you shall conquer Constantinople. What a wonderful leader will her leader be, and what a wonderful army will that army be. For over 800 years Muslims tried, generals, warriors, sultans, they came in waves. The Umayyads, the Abbasids, even the early Ottomans, all came close, all failed. But Mehmed believed with certainty, he would be the one, the leader praised by the Prophet himself, and nothing would stand in his way. Not the Byzantine Empire, not Europe, not even the mighty walls of Constantinople. He buried his father with tears in his eyes and steel in his heart. The reins of the empire now rested in his young hands, but he wasted no time. His first order was not celebration, it was war. He commanded the construction of Rumeli Hisari, a massive fortress on the edge of the Bosphorus. Stone by stone it rose, facing Constantinople like a blade pressed against its throat. It wasn't just a military move. I am coming, and this time we will not retreat. But fortresses were not enough. He needed a weapon powerful enough to bring empires to their knees. He found a man, Orban, a Hungarian engineer, once rejected by the Byzantines themselves. Together, they forged the impossible. A cannon. No, a monster. 30 feet long, 12 tons of bronze, firing boulders the size of cars, shaking the earth with every roar. The Basilica Cannon, a thunderous answer to 1,000 years of resistance. We fight not for glory, but for truth. And they came. From Anatolia to Arabia, from the mountains of Kurdistan to the plains of the Balkans. Turks, Arabs, Persians, Greeks, and Ummah united. An army of 100,000 believers. Warriors who fasted by day and wept in sujud by night. Their hearts beat not for the sword, but for the Shahada, La ilaha illallah. Constantinople stood tall, proud, untouchable. Triple-layered walls, 70 feet high, 12 feet thick. The Theodosian barrier, unbroken for 1,000 years. And the Golden Horn, sealed by a chain so vast it halted entire fleets. The Byzantines laughed. Let him come, they said, he will fall like the rest. But Mehmed saw the cracks, he saw the arrogance, and he saw the promise. He spent nights among his men, not as a king, but as a brother. He walked their tents, he broke bread with the soldiers, he reminded them why they fought, not for conquest, but for the honor of being the army the prophet foretold. He told them, when we enter the city, do not harm the innocent, do not destroy their homes, do not stain this victory with oppression, for we are not conquerors, we are the carriers of mercy. And then, the drums began. Spring of 1453. The siege was no longer a vision, it was real. The ground trembled under the marching of 100,000 men. The sky echoed with takbir, and the city of Constantine, once the jewel of the Roman Empire, felt the shadow of destiny. On one side, the cross and crown, on the other, the crescent and prophecy. As night fell across the hills, the glow of torches lit the horizon like fire in the veins of the empire. And in the silence, you could feel it. You could feel the pressure, the weight of centuries. This was not just a war. It was the final chapter of a 1,000-year struggle. A clash of civilizations. A test of belief. And in its center stood a boy, no longer a child, a leader chosen not by blood, but by prophecy. This was the dream of a young sultan. And the walls of Constantinople were about to witness their reckoning. Dawn rises. The hills around Constantinople awaken with fire and thunder. From the east, from the west, from land and sea, Mehmed's army encircles the ancient city like a noose tightening around the last breath of a dying empire. Inside the walls, panic. Priests chant in cathedrals, mothers weep, emperors pray. They had heard rumors that the Ottomans had brought a cannon the size of a house, that it could split stone like glass, that the boy sultan was no boy at all. And then the first shot was fired. The basilica cannon, 30 feet long, roared like thunder from the heavens. Its ball flew across the sky, smashing into the Theodosian wall with the wrath of centuries behind it. Stone cracked, earth trembled, and hope began to fade. But the walls held, and Mehmed knew it would take more than force, so he turned to strategy. The Golden Horn blocked any naval attack from the north. Protected by a massive iron chain drawn across the water, it seemed untouchable. But Mehmed, he dreamed what others feared. If his ships couldn't go through the water, they would go over land. With ropes, logs, and faith, he ordered his fleet, 70 ships, to be dragged over the hills. Across forests, across mud and stone, overnight. The Byzantines awoke to the impossible. Turkish warships floating in the Golden Horn, behind their defenses. The city gasped, the morale cracked. And still, Mehmed pressed forward. He launched attacks day after day, testing the walls, probing their weak spots. But it wasn't recklessness, it was exhaustion, wearing them down, bleeding them slowly. He offered the emperor a chance. Surrender, we will spare you, your churches, your people, your homes, but the offer was refused. So Mehmed returned to his army and said, "Then we take it, with the honor of the believers." He gathered his commanders. All night they prayed. All night they sharpened blades, mended armor, prepared hearts. And when the 29th day of May arrived, the sky wept, the heavens trembled, and the assault began. 3 waves of soldiers. The first, young, fresh recruits, testing the defenses, sacrificing themselves. The second, seasoned warriors, striking where the damage was greatest. And then the third. The Janissaries, the elite guard, the finest swords of the empire. And behind them all, Mehmed, sword in hand, eyes ablaze, a heart pulsing with the weight of prophecy. Arrows rained, flames soared, the wall split like cracked bone, and through the breach, the Muslims surged. The defenders fought like lions, brave to their final breath. But the tide could not be turned. Constantinople fell, not with a whimper but with the echo of history shaking its foundations. As Mehmed entered the city, he did not raise his sword, he did not scream victory. He dismounted, fell to his knees, and recited, Lum Lidi Ensur, the was Jen, Wazim Luzbauda, all praise be to Allah, who gave victory to his servant, strengthened his army, and defeated the Confederates alone. He walked through Hagia Sophia, not as a conqueror but as a servant, and he ordered, let the churches stand, let the people live, let this city shine, not as a prize, but as a capital of faith. He renamed it Istanbul, the city of Islam. And the prophecy was fulfilled. Verily, you shall conquer Constantinople. What a wonderful leader will her leader be. And what a wonderful army will that army be. Mehmed, now Mehmed al-Fatih, the conqueror, not just of cities, but of hearts, of history, of the impossible. This wasn't just a siege, it was the rebirth of a civilization, the proof that no wall can stand against divine will. And so the city of Constantine became the jewel of Islam. And the world would never be the same.